All right, I think that covers all of our introductions. So we have with us today Alan Kirby of Pitsco. And so a little bit about Alan. I know he's going to share a little bit about himself before he gets started as well, but I'm going to go ahead and share the intro. So after graduating Pittsburgh State University in 2001, Alan began a professional career in the aviation field, helping design and implement cutting-edge GPS mapping systems with digital charting and onboard weather systems, leveraging satellite radio and data systems. In 2010, Alan moved into the classroom and began facilitating youth leadership classes and teaching math and biology courses at the middle school and high school levels for USD 250. Alan also instructs hands-on workshops for troubled and or mentally handicapped youth in his community. Alan has worked for Pitsco Education for over a decade, visiting schools as a trusted advisor, meeting with math and science instructors and administration to improve student scores and whole child success. Outside of work, Alan is a ceramic artist, a bladesmith, and forged in fire veteran. Awesome. Thank you so much for that information, Alan. So I'm going to turn it over to you so that we can learn a little bit more about drones.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate it. And I'll give Kristen a minute to get the slideshow started if she can fire it up. A little bit about Pitsco kind of as we get started. Pitsco Education has been around for 51 years this year. It's pretty amazing that we can serve, like I mentioned, 73 countries. In the US, we work directly with schools and administrators. Outside of the US, we have a network of dealers that know their ministries of education and so on very well. I've had the luxury of working with both Costa Rica and Jamaica to help implement some STEM labs and do some different things that were initiatives by the ministries. So it's been a lot of fun. It's a great reach, but I'm happy to say that we're based right here in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and that's exciting because Tulsa and Oklahoma is just south of us. So we have several employees. Kristen got to meet one of our curriculum writers last time when she was up. That's from Miami, Oklahoma. So we're big, but we're small town, I guess you could say. A little bit about me. I have been, like Leanne said, a ceramic artist and a bladesmith for a number of years. Had the opportunity to be on the television show Forged in Fire a couple of years ago. That has opened a lot of doors for our family. It's pretty unique and cool experience. When I get a chance to talk to kids in class about some of those experiences, I really enjoy integrating technology and computer science into these old world disciplines. Ceramics and forging steel has been around for tens of thousands of years, and so bringing technology like 3D printing into that equation has kind of piqued my interest and increases the level of satisfaction that I get out of that. So anyway, I like to share some of those experiences with kids when I get a chance. Today, though, we're going to be talking a little bit about drones. Go on to the next one, if you would. There we go. What is a drone? Drones are essentially flying robots. They're codable, they're hand flyable. Sometimes they're called UAS or unmanned aircraft systems. Essentially, flying robots or drones are tools. And as we look across the 16 national career clusters that have been identified, there's really not a one where drones can't be used as a tool in that career. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but drones make jobs easier when you use them as a tool. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. From Pitsco, we offer several different curriculum sets, anywhere from grade 6 all the way up through high school. And so those we'll talk about, and I'll touch a little bit about an elementary product that's coming up and coming. Kristen had a chance to take a look at it last time she was up. And Kristen, just so you know, we can officially talk about it now. So I'm excited about that. Let's go on to the next one. Where do drone courses fit? When we talked about those 16 career clusters, there is a handful of different areas where they can fall into place. Agriculture, the first one there, obviously is a very good fit for whether you're counting cows or chicken fence. even with a myriad of sensors that can go on a drone, they can even look for which plants have pest infestation. They can look for moisture content in the soil. It's amazing what they can do with a drone from the air that saves hours and gallons of diesel versus being in the field. So today we'll focus a little bit more on the computer science end of things and how do drones fit into that pathway. Being a codable device, obviously that's a natural fit. Kids can create anywhere from block-based coding in elementary school all the way up to Java, Python, and so on in high school and in industry. Typically, drones are coded for the pathway that they're going to fly. So whether that be, surveying, over a bunch of acreage, or maybe a new highway intersection or on ramp, the coded flight path they can use even in search and rescue grids. So, yep, we can go on to the next one. And there might be a couple of pauses in here, so you might have to step through them. Yep. So the steps to setting up a drone program in a school, two of them mainly. The first one being teacher training. Professional development is important, and we'll talk a little bit about the FAA Part 107 in a minute, but it's critical for that. If you're flying indoors, teachers need a little bit of training, maybe the properties of flight, the different forces that act on a drone and how they work. But taking it into a computer science realm, if you're not going the aviation pathway, explaining the principles of flight can be very quick. This second major part of the drone program is the student curriculum. That's probably the most critical part. In the sets that we offer, both in middle school and high school level, they are very much a student-led experience. The teacher is more of a facilitator. They sit back and answer questions if needed, but largely it's the students, consuming content and creating solutions to the problems that they come across. So we're going to dig into the teacher training part of it. Let's focus on high school really specifically at first to deliver a quality professional development experience for teachers in the high school. They need to understand kind of what the Part 107 brings in. An FAA Part 107 is essentially a drone driver's license to operate a drone commercially. If you're going to be paid as part of your job to operate a drone, then you have to have the 107 certificate. The professional development that we offer at the high school level, we call it the hybrid because it's a 4-week program, about 8 hours a day. You can do it at your leisure. There's a lot of online content modules essentially that you'd step through, and then there's weekly check-ins with a instructor to make sure that you're on task if you have any questions, and that ultimately you'll be prepared at the end of this experience to go and take and pass the FAA 107. Just like driver's ed in high school, you can take driver's ed, but you can't get your driver's license there. You have to go to the DMV. Getting that 107 certification happens at an FAA testing center. And generally there's one within a 30 or 40 mile radius of anywhere. So it's pretty easy to obtain. It's a 70 question exam. It's about $150. It's good for 2 years. After that, to renew it is significantly less, and you can do it online. But those prices vary state by state. But the hybrid PD would take the teachers through that, again, through the 4 weeks of study and then weekly check-ins. And it is then culminated when our instructor comes out and brings a registered drone, a registered pilot, and you have an in-flight flight day at the end of that. So that PD is available from Pitsco if you're looking to set up a high school level program. For middle level, let's dive back into that one just real quick. Middle level, really, unless you're flying outside, you really don't have to have that full professional development experience. The middle level curriculum focuses more on career exposure. What do different jobs, different careers look like through the lens of using the drone as a tool? But some of the outcomes that we expect out of that professional development are not only the risk mitigation and safety training, weather briefing, autonomous flight, how to use cameras and different sensors and stuff. But the biggest one is the FAA 107 prep. Whether you go and take the exam after the PD is up to you, but it is certainly encouraged, especially if you're going to be flying with drones outside. technically, as a pilot in command or PIC, you would be required to have that if you're getting paid, again, as part of your job to fly that drone, even if the students are the ones flying the drone and you're just sitting back and watching. As the leader of the class, you're what they call the SPIC, the secondary pilot in command. And so it's kind of a gray area, but we want everybody to be safe and to be legal with it. So that 107 is definitely encouraged. In terms of drone hardware, what needs to be registered? Drones that are intended to be flown indoors, or what the FAA would say is if they're less than 0.55 pounds or more than 55 pounds, they need to be registered. And they have the specifics here. They have an N number, a tail number, just like an airplane, just like a Cessna 182 or a Learjet. That N number gets registered with the FAA on their website. It costs a whopping $5 to register a drone with the FAA, and it's just simply so they can tie it back to an owner, right, to know where it is. That way, if it ends up in a wreck somewhere, they can identify it. Otherwise, drones that you fly indoors, the little Tello drones, for example, I've got one here on the video if you can see it. They're very lightweight, very small, very easy to fly inside. There's a dozen different kinds that teachers use in the classroom. Those don't have to be registered if they weigh less than 0.55 pounds. Any questions on that? I kind of went over that pretty quick, and there's a lot of information there. So why does the FAA care if we register drones? Why does the FAA care if people are registered? This is a model of what the National Airspace System looked like back in 2018, the day before Thanksgiving. At any one time, there's close to 16,000 aircraft in the National Airspace System operating at one time. And obviously those planes are not to scale over the map here, but that gives you some idea of the cluster. Now, if we think about 2 million and growing number of drones entering into that National Airspace System, it gets really crowded really fast. Another kind of point that I wanted to make on this is when we look at the National Airspace System, and more importantly, the FAA is looking at this in terms of air traffic control. As the number of drones increase, you're going to see an increase in the number of rules and regulations that are part of that FAA 107. So while normal FAA 107 test prep, there's probably a dozen or more different companies that offer, test prep or curriculum services. Those rules constantly changing as they roll out new changes over the next few years. It's important that the curriculum experience be kept current and kept up to date. And so as you're implementing, you want to make sure that you're teaching a curriculum that is, forward compatible or at least current for that time frame. So the high school level curriculum we have is LMS based. So as the kids get in, every time they log in, they're getting the most current version of the experience. Competitions. When people think about drones, they always think about drone soccer or drone leagues, racing leagues, and so on. Those are a lot of fun. We helped design a Skills USA competition within that CTSO. We collaborated with Mind's Eye, University of Florida, Crossflight Sky Solutions, and our committee has created this event based on commercial operation of drones. So while drone soccer and racing and stuff are fun, we've looked at the flight planning aspects, the collaboration as a pilot and co-pilot would be operating one. We've looked at weather, airspace, charting, flight planning, even autonomous or digital mapping of those, what they call photogrammetry, of putting the drone images together. So the competition kind of embraces all of those aspects. If anybody's interested in taking a look at that, if you have a Skills USA chapter and want to learn more about that event, we can send over a link where you can watch some videos of the past year's performances and kind of talk a little bit more about that. So any questions?
Can you, Alan, are you able to share what the features of the drone that you all are going to be releasing? Are you able to talk about that?
Yeah. So again, the Tello is the one that we currently carry. What Kristen's mentioning is a new, what we call the drone maker kit. It's a very low price point, low entry drone that is buildable. The students actually get to put it together. It comes with 4 motors and the chassis. The kids can install the arms. They can actually vary the length of the arm. And then it's all radio controlled. There's no app, there's no software. It's very easy. It's more of an engineering design kind of experience, but it goes all the way down into elementary. So some of the activities that they do would be based on, flight dynamics, based on the actual physical build of the drone and how it varies. For more in terms of computer science, the Teledrone and others have a codable experience where you're using drone blocks software or Python or Java to program the drone to do different features and functions, reading from sensors, collecting data, exporting and slicing and dicing that data is all very easy to do with the applications that come with those.
And that's one thing I liked about the drone that you all I'm sorry, what did you call it again? The drone maker?
The drone maker.
And that's one thing I liked about it is that, like, in the past when I've done drones with my students, like once they build the drone, like the drone is built and you can't reuse it between classes because the first class built it, so second hour doesn't get to experience it. So I could see like really combining this one because you can take it apart in between classes and another class can rebuild it, and you can immediately see the changes when you shorten the arm length or add more weight to it. Like, it's super easy to see the changes. So maybe combining that with, like, I know some of you already have some of the programmable drones, so you could get the computer science programming aspect of it along with the engineering part of it where they can see the changes. And there's even like some online, there used to be, are there still online free platforms like Tinkercad, or Tinker used to have like a program a drone online. So I can see like really like fusing those together to make a really enriching experience for students.
Literally the sky is the limit, or the ceiling if you're inside. Yep.
And I will, go ahead.
I've got in my hands here, I don't know if you can see it very well. This is kind of the proof of the new builder's guide that comes with the Maker drone. I just happen to have one on my desk. I just don't have the physical drone, but there's kind of a schematic of the instructions. If anybody's interested, I can send a PDF of this out to take a look at. But yeah, it's a cool piece, and it'll really, I think, engage a lot of elementary kids and get them started down that pathway. When I say pathway, it's the pathway of drones, which then once you get into middle school and high school, branches out to just about any career you can think of.
And I will say we weren't just bringing Alan on because I went to go visit Pitsco and I was like, this is really cool. But a whole bunch of people said that they wanted to learn more about drones when they filled out our survey asking, what kind of information you all want this year. So that was one of the things that you said you wanted. So that's why we thought, hey, Pitsco's local. That's what I like about them. They're just not like 2 hours away from Tulsa, so 4 from Oklahoma City. So it's super convenient to have a local person in your backyard that can help support you when you need that support too.
You bet. You bet. And if in order to keep it in the 20-minute time frame, that was a pretty brief presentation. If anybody's interested in learning more about those curriculum pieces, what they do, the nuts and bolts, I'm happy to send you any samples that you want to take a look at. If you want me to come down and bring some drones with me to show to your administration, let me know. I'm available to do that as well. So however I can be of assistance. Pitsco exists to empower teachers to positively impact students. That's why we're here. It's everything that we do. So we're at your disposal. Whatever you need us for, let us know.
And if you are interested in it, some of you know or have participated in TRSA's drone competition that we've hosted pre-pandemic for a long time, and we're looking at reimagining what that could look like. And so coming in the spring, we're working to hopefully partner with Pitsco to provide like some professional development, and then we always have a drone grant that we give out drones for, and then maybe the competition too. So if this has piqued your interest, stay tuned, and hopefully you'll be able to take some advantage of TRSA's resources to get some of these drones in your classroom.
One other fun little fact, AOPA, Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, has a drone curriculum program as well. It's actually a whole aviation pathway, and they announced maybe 2 weeks ago, Oklahoma is now the largest implementer of their curriculum packages for aviation pathway. It's astounding. They do a really, really good job.
That was aircraft what?
Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, or AOPA.
And Alan, were you telling me that if the certification part of the curriculum, that they can get more career tech money if they're using that? Is that correct? Because it ends in a certification?
Correct. Yep. It varies by state. The gentleman, I wrote his name down here, Jeremy, may know a little bit more about that in terms of, state funding for those programs. But I can tell you firsthand from Florida, I know they have a what they call a CAPE list. And that list specifies different career certifications. And if teachers are teaching a course that ultimately culminates in an industry certification, they can actually get kickbacks from the state. They get paid. It's almost like a teacher bonus program for it. So Jeremy, sorry, you might be on the hook for that now, but it's a neat program. More and more states are starting to operate like that, where if you're, granting those kids the ability to go out and get a career right out of high school, they're going to be rewarded for that. So pretty cool. And they can turn around and reinvest those funds right back into the programs for more, licenses for their software or whatever they need, computers, drones. Yep.
So yeah, that's, if you're looking at like, how can we fund that? That's another possible option.
Yep.
For your
There's a lot of energy and engagement around aviation pathways and drones. Yep. Because they fit such a wide variety of applications, there's a lot of momentum around that.
And if you, I can't remember her name, Nico Thomas. I think she's at Career Tech. I can't remember how you pronounce it. Nico, thank you. We could, if you have questions, we could put you in touch with her, but she knows lots about that.
Any other questions? Is anybody already a FAA Part 107 certificate holder? Does anybody want to get certified? Crystal's in.
Plus, you can earn some extra bank as like having a side hustle doing like.
Well, my kids have been begging. My kids have been begging for drones. We've done rockets, we've done robots, and they really like the drones because we've been doing the space and aeronautic stuff. And we've been talking about how drones fly differently than the planes and stuff. And so they're like, they hear about it, they see about it. All the cinematography uses drones now. It's just pretty different.
Speaking of that, there's a, oh gosh, it's out in the Panhandle at Woodward. I think they have a really big cinematography like festival that's related to drones. I just happened to see it on Facebook. So like kids can actually like go see people who are making movies and commercials and doing this. And I think there's a student showcase also. But since Crystal, you're at a rural school, and that could be a really good connection for like, why are we learning this? Like it has definite applications for your students.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal, just for you, for the last little 30 seconds or so that I've got here, I have a joke for you that you can please feel free to share with your students, but do it in all seriousness. When you talk about the forces of flight, right? There's 4 forces that act on aircraft at any one time. There's lift and thrust and drag and money. Without one of those 4 forces, airplanes will not fly. You can ask any pilot. I mean, military pilots essentially, they fly $50 million jets. So there's always money required as one of those 4 forces of flight.
Yeah, I'll put that on a test question and they'll be like, huh?
We used to tell that to our student pilots all the time, that at the flight school that I ran, was that what makes the airplane fly?
Yep.
And the answer was money.
Money. So as we look at funding for drone programs, yeah, know that there's resources available there. Everybody, I really appreciate it. If you have any questions after this, my email and contact information is in the slideshow presentation, or reach out to Kristen or Leanne. They can put you in touch with me as well. I'm here for you.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put your the link to your slide deck. I think it's the right link in the chat.
You got it.
Can take a look at that. Alan, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. This has been really, I think, beneficial for all the people that are here, and we are recording, so we'll be able to send this out to other members as well, and so it will reach more than just the people that we have today. Alan, you're welcome to hang out and